Welcome to Whitney Squared, starring Whitney Andrews and Whitney Painter, with our special guest today, Head of School, Jay Rainey. Welcome to our new segment that explores different ways that we are using tech in our classrooms.
We like to call it Whitney Squared.
Okay, Whitney, I heard that your students are becoming more worldly, if you know what I mean. Would you like to elaborate?
Yes, Whitney. My students have been using multiple platforms of map-based tech to explore and learn more about the world that we live in.
That sounds super cool, Whit. Let's talk a little more about Google Maps as an instructional tool.
Great.
Okay, so most people know about Google Maps. It's a great place where you can get directions by car, bus, walking, flying, or biking. It's also a place where you can see traffic alerts. It's also a place where you can do Google Earth, bicycling, you can get the terrain map, and of course these can be applied in a multitude of ways, and we're going to give you a bunch of examples today. First of all, I'd just like to show y'all something that we did in my class recently, and I had the students create their own maps. So if you click on menu, down here you'll see something that says My Map, and then you can click on Create Map if you don't have one already. And the screen that you're taking to looks something like this, and you can zoom in on anywhere you want to in the world. So let's go to Memphis since we're right here. What we're going to be doing is adding different layers to our map. So I might call this Places in the City, and this is my first layer. And I might want to add markers right here to different places around Memphis. And you can zoom by either going over here to the plus sign or putting both of your fingers together on your mouse pad and spreading them apart. So let's say I want to put a marker on Hutchinson School and call this point 1, and I might be able to here add an image or picture of Hutchinson School. And this is what came up when I typed it in. So let's go ahead and select that. You also can look for videos here or find a video on YouTube, which is really neat. And you can say something about it. Here is the school. And save. Now every time that I click on this marker, I will be directed to the picture of Hutchinson School and what I said about it. Okay, so let's go ahead and add one more marker, and we'll add it here to point 2, and we'll call it Another School, and we can save. What I had my students do in particular was add markers around the city of Huntsville, and they explained the relationship of the different buildings in their town using directional vocabulary and building vocabulary that we were using in class. Okay, so if you want to from here, you can get directions. So let's say I want to get from point 2 to point 1. I would click on point 2 and then click on my point 1, and then as you can see it generates driving directions for you, which is really neat. You can also measure distances and areas. So if I wanted to see the distance between these 2 points, it is 0.428 miles. And you can also measure the area of location. So if you add a marker there and then you keep it going, it'll measure the area inside of your shape that you created. And lastly, you can also add a driving route or a biking route or even a walking route from the different locations on your map, and you can just click on one location and start mapping out a route that you want to take to go anywhere in your city.
Here is just one way how I have used Google Maps engine in my classroom. My students have created their own countries through our Utopia project. So as you see, we have a class map. So it is a collaborative system. Anyone who has the link, you can allow them to edit and to share the map, including making more layers or drawing or highlighting certain areas, including dropping pins. So if you would like students to research a certain area, they can outline it and even drop a pin and put a paragraph or put some kind of writing assignment inside of it. But you see that they have drawn different borders around the world, and this is a link that we use and share in my class. There are all kinds of things that you can do with Google Earth in your classroom. So Google Earth is a downloadable program that you guys can get for free from Google. So this is beyond just using the online Google Earth. And you guys see that over here under layers, I have all kinds of things selected, and there are multiple generated layers that people have created, so you can use all kinds of nonprofit organizations, UNICEF, WaterAid, and take a look at where these markers are placed. So I didn't have to create any of this. All of these markers are already there for you. And if you click on one, it gives you all kinds of information about the location. So Turkmenistan with MDG Monitor, you see all kinds of information about the GDP, the Human Development Index, and things that this organization is doing in Turkmenistan. In all of these markers, this is free. All of these markers are already placed for you to use, and you can see everything from the ecosystem, so human-environment interaction in both science and the social sciences are there for you. And if you notice, you can actually create your own markers. So I have some cities here that the students can place, and then some information, some markers that I created based on information that I have found that I want them to research. So it's a way to compile the research, but also a way for them to have everything in one place, and they can go to those areas and do more research.
The top 10 uses of Google Maps are: number 10, adding markers to Google Maps to incorporate vocabulary about city life. Number 9, having students note differences in architectural styles of cathedrals over a period of centuries with Google Earth. Number 8, letting students go on a scavenger hunt using different layers in Google Earth as a research tool for natural disasters, glacier formations, rainfall, volcanoes, etc. Number 7, letting students collaborate through use of Google Earth layers to compare and contrast changing political boundaries and landscapes. Number 6, calculating distances, elevation, and contours on maps to plan the layout of a new city. Number 5, marking ancient explorers' routes around the globe, calculating travel time and comparing historical travel times to those of today's world using different modes of transportation with the direction generator. Number 4, mapping the boundaries and topography of imaginary worlds found throughout works of literature. Number 3, taking a tour of Mars and visibly comparing how our view of the red planet has changed through the years based on ancient cartography. Number 2, creating a food map depicting all of the areas on a map of the world that supply the ingredients for Chicken Finger Wednesdays. And the number 1 use of Google Maps is using the sky feature in Google Earth to view live images of galaxies, constellations, and movements of the planets, and having students create their own imaginary galaxies.
This month's episode of Whitney Squared.
And if you guys have any ideas for future episodes, we're really excited to hear them. So email one of the Whitneys and hopefully we can work something out.
And we challenge you to use Google Maps in your classroom sometime this month and share with us how you used it, and you might even be featured on a future episode.
Yes, awesome. All right, until next time.